Okay, so in 13, what I was looking at for a minute here was that I was wondering about cutting the hole in the upper for this eyelet. My stance is this, like, CG is CG, which means sometimes it's real and accurate, and other times it looks real and accurate. So to go into the upper and chop in, let's see, I guess that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but what I'm going to do before I try to actually make a hole is see if we actually need to make a hole for it to be believable. Because again, what we're doing with this is less like we're trying to make parts that fit together per se, and like in real life that we could print out, and more trying to convince somebody that this shoe is dope and that they want to buy it, which is about communicating realism. So all that's to say is it doesn't have to be 1,000% accurate to that there's actually a hole or not. So just realized that looking from this view that the strap doesn't really come forward enough or back enough. We'll fix that, but in the meantime, so I would probably, I'm gonna worry about the tongue later. So add a loop, and this probably needs a loop too. Pick this one, slide it, this one, pull forward a bit, and then I'll tuck the tongue back so these thicknesses don't screw us over. Probably wants to be there. Just debating whether I need another loop in here or not. I'll leave it there for right now. And again, it doesn't come as far forward as you've drawn it, but it's probably just drawn too far forward based on whatever thickness this part is versus the piping. So yeah, well, it's just one of those sort of chicken and egg things. We'll adjust it as we go. This back one can probably come out a little bit. And I know I'm missing that strap, that loop on the back for the strap to go through. Honestly, depending on how the shoe's constructed, or you know how it's actually sewn under here, and how tall or how far down this piece actually goes and such, you may not need that loop. So I'm not sure if you're adding it for aesthetics or for actual structure, but just my 2 cents. I don't know that you will actually functionally, structurally need that loop to be there to keep the strap, because you've got a pretty tall eyelet that appears to be metal, so it's not like, I doubt, and plus the layering of this, I don't think the strap's going to go anywhere. It's certainly not going to slide up or down or slide left or right, just because it's kind of pretty damn confined, because you've got this, the heel, what am I calling this? The heel collar sort of pushing back because your ankle's pushing back. Then you've also got your ankle pushing out, so it pretty much locks this in place. So I don't know that you need it. I'll model it anyway, but just so you know. I would probably, actually, so you can kind of look at, again, this is intersecting, so this might be a more thoughtful place to integrate some sculpting. So sculpt mode, maybe not the grab brush as much as the, that's weird that they just call this the brush. That's stupid and not descriptive. So if I click, oh, sorry, wrong mesh. Wanted to try to do that on this mesh. Now is actually probably before I start sculpting it a little bit, just so it has some space or some data to move. I'm gonna add 3 loops. Yeah, 3 is fine. So now not Q, but tab, sculpt mode, and the brush. So if we just click that, you can see it's pulling it out. That's not what we want. We want it to go in. So I'll undo that. Those 3 or 4 clicks. I'm gonna hold down, is it control? Yeah. Hold down the control. I'm gonna make my brush a little bit smaller too. Hold down control. You can just hold it in a place and click, or you can actually just drag. Hold down control. Hold down control and just drag across it, and that'll push all of it in. You can kind of see what's happening there. You see it just dives inside of the heel collar right there. So let me undo some of that. It's pretty subtle. That's why I tend to just, for what I'm doing right now, I'll just like kind of just move it to a place maybe make it actually larger, and then click, or control click, just to sort of tuck it in a little bit. Like that. Oop, that's too much. And so again, you can control the strength of it over here. I think there's a shortcut for this, but I don't know what it is, because I don't have to mess with it too often. But I will set it down to 0.2. 0.2. Okay. Hold down Control and start to just nudge some of this stuff inward, and you can see that it's moving this too, which is okay. But we'll make it a little smaller and just try to get it inside. And for sure, this is just way too close, so that's why it's poking in, but that's okay. I'm really just trying to make sure I can see the whole thickness of this edge. So that's fine. And just again, so you can see that these aren't, the vertices aren't as straight up and down, but again, that's good for what we're doing, because it's kind of creates sort of a more natural, maybe the shoe's been worn a couple times kind of look. Pick the the heel collar, and I'm going to give that a solidify modifier as well. Probably set it to 2.5. I'm assuming that's a bit thicker, patty of a piece, and you can see that it popped out, and I definitely wanted that to pop in. So for me, I would probably go into edit mode and just hit Control F and flip to normals versus just putting minus 2.5. I try to keep my my logic of which direction is positive and negative similar, so I don't have to pay attention to it. So again, if we look at things, just need to tuck some stuff in. Could just probably pick these guys and do that. And again, we could absolutely sculpt this if we felt like it. It just kind of depends. So scooch, scoot. Here. I could also just be control selecting that. It's a little hard to see that edge there. Cool, something like that. So now we're sort of back where we were, but the advantage is now we can see the edge of the gray of the upper. It's a little intersecty right there, but that's okay. Okay, so that's now where it needs to be. Let me also click even thickness on some of these that I don't think I've done that on. Oh, okay, so another real quick tip. So with the, let's say, so even on the upper you can see all this sort of faceting, this little micro facets, instead of it being perfectly smooth. So let's say we hit smooth, and all of a sudden we have this like crazy soft edge, which is actually a shading error, because it's basically a 90-degree angle. There we go. Turn that back to flat. Basically a 90-degree angle in here, which is flatter than most things can shade it to be smooth. So what a lot of people do, turn this back on, is they add an edge split modifier. Edge split, edge split, edge split. There you are. And then it just, so basically what it does is it can figure out that, let me show you the options. So if the edge split angle is set to 30 degrees, so basically if your polygons are at a 30-degree angle to each other, or less or more, it won't smooth them. So basically, because if we go into face mode, so this polygon next to this polygon, this edge is like a really flat, it's basically like a 0-degree angle, right? Like they're flat. So that's less than this 30 degrees. So it's just telling Blender like, okay, shade that smooth. But then because the angle between, well, there is no polygon in there. Well, pretend that there's a polygon going across the top of this and back down, which is sort of happening because of the solidify modifier. You know, if this edge came in and then back down, that's obviously more of an angle than the 30 degrees. So that's why you get this nice sharp edge. It just won't shade that as smooth. That's all that's happening. Hope that wasn't too technical. So again, you see how that gets really smooth like that, which isn't necessarily bad, but I don't know that it's correct for what we're trying to illustrate. Either way, I tend to normally just add the edge split modifier, and that's that. and so it basically keeps it smooth and gives that sharp edge thickness in there. Smooth and edge split. Okay. Probably also could do the same with this, with solidify, edge split, and I'll set the solidify up to 1, and that went the direction that I wanted. Cool. You can see there's a little gap in here, so oh, sorry, before I do that, let me shade that smooth. Smooth, there you go. All I'm gonna do is pick these edges here, and I'm gonna go, I basically want to just get them to be like just under here, which isn't impossible. It's takes a little figuring. Let's see, that one goes to there, that one goes to there. Let's try to grab or edge slide with GG, so that'll pull it up away, which is not quite what we want, and that's where it started. Again, I'm going to hold down Alt and just drag it that way, so just hide, it's, you know, just barely hidden under there. And see, it gets a little dicey with these two verts, so I'm just going to move it apart. If I go to back view, my lateral's in the way. Go to perspective here. Hit the period on the number pad to zoom way in on that, like way too far in on that. I would say, alright, so this one looks like it just sort of crossed over there a little bit. Slide this guy back. Hide the sole so you can see what the fuck I'm doing. Sorry. Okay. So what had happened is that it just was, these are just kind of all crossed over. It takes a little practice just getting used to seeing that shit. Not a huge deal. It's normal. And the same had happened over here, that this one's kind of down here, this one's like kind of back here, just spacing them back out, that's all. It's gonna be up there, okay. So basically the point is just that it overlaps the end. Okay, turn the sole back on. Alright. Oh, I don't need to hit save just yet. Okay, so we've got that thickness, got a little bit of that working. Let's fix the tongue real quick. Again, I'll smooth it, solidify, and edge split. Set the tongue thickness, again, maybe more like that 2.5 range. That's definitely not the direction I want it to go. So, and again, this is a nice way to kind of help visualize. You see sort of this patchwork of stuff, of polygons, and then you see that it's sort of sitting on the outside. So if you hit Control F and flip normals, it will flip to the inside, which is pretty much what you're looking for. And yeah, that's that. So yeah, you can see there's like an obvious interference there. That's probably not quite desirable. And also sort of here with the tongue too. So I think I'm going to try to sculpt again with the brush, just to tuck some of this stuff in. So holding on the Control key, just quick little brushes to move that out of the way. Kind of the same thing here. Doesn't have to be perfect, again, you know. Again, that's the stuff all sort of lays up against itself anyway. But giving it just some of this little subtle curve kind of stuff will for sure make it not feel so computery when it's rendered out and all that kind of stuff, and not so stiff. Just even that like little subtle kind of core shadow you get right there, and then like little highlight, like just shows that this is laying up against it kind of thing. Nothing's popping through it there. Okay, I mean that's pretty easy. So edit mode. What we're doing here, actually, oh, I was gonna work on these eyelets. Okay, so basically this is kind of a cylinder, it's kind of a pill shape. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see, I'm gonna use, yeah, that's not a primitive, so I'm gonna use a circle. Yeah, I'll make a circle. Come into my front view, so it's lying flat on the, it's a little tiny, where is it? hit the period key. So it's lying flat. I'm like way inside the sole right now. Okay, so it's lying flat on the XY plane. So I'm going to go to front view, type align to, or tap align to view right here. I have way too many sides to create the shape, so that's probably more like a 12-sider than an 8. I mean 8's probably fine, but I'll do 12 just to have a little more detail. So it's aligned to view, just G key, there it is. Go into edit mode, scale that up a bit. I'm going to do this from the back view just so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. And back, thank you. Okay, so there it is. So I'll scale that down. About that size. So then what I'm going to do is pick this vert, that vert, hit Control V, and I want to rip them. Can't rip, okay, sorry. So I'll do that one at a time. Control V, rip, just hit escape. This one, Control V, rip, escape, or A to deselect. So I'll pick this vert down here and just tap L, and that's going to pick just the connected ones. So since basically rip just kind of splits that vertex into two and disconnects the thing. So just move that down about like there. So you can pick that vert and tap F, and that'll just put an edge between them. It's kind of the same, like the same as putting a face, but it just does it for an edge. So just tap F, and that's pretty much our shape. And they're all merged as results. If I tap L, I get all of them. Press Shift D to duplicate that. Actually, that's probably not the smartest way to do that. I'm just gonna undo. Okay, so sometimes you get stuff sitting on top of itself. Oh, excuse me. So just gonna tap L and hit X to delete that, and you're having back to all the stuff that you had a second ago. So now with all of this selected, L, tap F, and that's just gonna put a big face in there. So this is, this sort of concentric shape. So we'll go into, face mode, pick the face, tap I on the keyboard to inset it. Unfortunately, we can't really see what we're doing, but I can sort of visually guesstimate this from over here. I'm going to set that to edge rail. It doesn't really matter for... Okay, so I know as a new user it's probably hard to tell how far this inset should be, so let me undo that and just do it the way I was gonna do it. So where it was just this whole strip of edges, pick it, Shift D to duplicate it, and I'm going to... Scaling seems like the right idea, but it's kind of not. I mean, well, it's not wrong, but I'm just going to scale it down for the width so that this is lined up. Why does my cursor keep doing that shit? And then just go back and pick these, move them up, pick these, and move them down. That's the more probably sort of surefire way to know that you're getting that thickness per your illustration. So pick this edge, or sorry, I'm Alt-Shift selecting these just to pick the whole loop. And we're going to press Control E, and oh man, my screencast keys haven't been on. My apologies. I don't know why it turns them off all the time. We're going to just bridge the edge loops, and that's that piece. And these actually look, based on your illustration, these don't look like they're a round section like the piping is. They look like they're kind of flat, just because there's this little tiny shadow and like a little baby highlight. So these look like flat metal eyelets to me. So I'll just extrude on the Y, give it some thickness. We are not sure how much, maybe that much. Now I can just pull this guy back over here. And so in reality, it's going to be sort of laying, it's going to be on an angle like this. So a couple things I'm going to do. So one is I'm just going to move this guy out in space, just kind of as like is the piece to work from, so I don't have to recreate this geometry if I fuck it up, which is likely the first time you do something. So, oh, and I didn't name stuff here. This is called laces. Sorry, laces. That can also go, oops, an upper. This I'll call eyelets, base. Press Shift D on that, hide the base. Just gonna go on the upper. Okay, so to go back into that real quick, top view, I'm gonna, there's a couple, well, for right now we'll just do it like this. Okay, here. Just gonna add a couple loops here. Oh, yeah, excuse me. I'm just gonna add 3 there, and 3 here. Gonna add a modifier. Go into object mode to turn on the shading for smooth. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of a bow to this edge. That's because there's no subdivisions here. So click like that, and do the same on this side, about like so. And the reason why these are slightly angled and these are slightly angled is that because when I offset this wasn't quite perfectly set at the right, like these weren't horizontal to each other. For what we're doing, this super duper doesn't matter, it's fine. Or you can see that this one was closer, so these are a little flatter. I mean, you could go in and, let's see, this is E0, platinum, if that really mattered, SC and 0, oops, SC and 0, and yeah, and then they're flatter. And then this, I mean, is fairly far off. And I know that, yeah, there's, I mean, it's now not technically a perfect circle, but again, it's an illustration. No one knows the difference. So let's say that looks pretty good. I'm gonna add just 2 loops here to flatten that face. That's really why I added so many loops here. Like I probably don't need this, like the middle one I probably don't need edge loops. And it gets a little softer, but it's okay. Just trying to find this middle one here, edge loops. You're not going to see the back of this, but you know, fuck it. A little flatter just in case. So now, because we've done that work sort of flattening out these verts and stuff, I'm going to duplicate that. Maybe drag it out. Hide it. Okay. And now I'll just move it into position. So somewhere like that. Rotate on the Z, so it's about, I'm really looking at sort of how it's relating to, basically if this is an even little thickness right here, it's close, but it's probably more like that. So you can go into top view, so I was just rotating it sort of this way. So just so it's approximately like that. Looks good. So now that we have like kind of that landmark, that'll help us sort of tuck this back in a little bit more accurately. And so I'll just, there's no real reason to make these all like 4 separate objects. So I'll Shift D, escape, and just drag it back. Man, that is irritating that it keeps flipping my mouse like that. Going to top view, rotate it till it's about where it goes. Oh, what I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna, since I know this intersection is roughly accurate based on your illustration, I'm just gonna kind of move that to where I think that would be. About like so. That looks fairly correct, even though this is crashing in. We'll fix that in a minute. Yeah, that's gonna be the interesting thing, is because you've got these fairly thick ribbing things happening and that tucking through, but you know, we'll deal with it. So I'd say that's pretty much in the right, well, it's really not in the right place according to your illustration because you've got pretty even distances here, so gonna look at that. So it's probably more like there, and this is, the strap is just hitting in the wrong place. I also see here that this and this probably could be a little more vertical, just to make this work together vertically a little bit more. Okay. So wait, what happened? Oh, it's just hiding. Got it. So that's here, probably more like that. Okay. So I'm just really, again, I'm looking at the distance between this edge, not the pink edge, but the edge of this selected mesh in here, and this to see that it's about the same. This probably can even come in a little more like that, if I had to guess. Okay. So I'm going to top view, Shift D on the Y, move that over here, rotate, move it. It's about halfway stamped in. Pick these, Shift D on the Y, rotate, and I got about halfway into the surface. Just gonna look at sort of my distances again. I'll say that's accurate for now. Oops. Okay, so that's the eyelets. I'm just gonna call this eyelets, plural. Cool. Wait, check one more thing. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. Go into object mode, and we'll adjust the strap accordingly. So that row needs to, for sure, come in. So I'll add a loop here. Wants to come out, add another loop. So now it's going through. Probably need another one anyway, just to really have some control in there. What's happening? So again, with the rendering, I think it's going to be realistic enough that people are not going to be paying attention to whether this is an actual hole in this mesh, the upper mesh. But we'll just kind of see how it looks, and if I need to pop an actual hole in there, then I will. So there, pull it out so that doesn't interfere. So kind of going through there. Okay. That goes, pokes in. I mean, I could add another loop in there, but it pretty much looks correct. Yeah, I'd say it looks fairly correct. I'm gonna add a loop there just because this particular polygon looked kind of long. Maybe just whatever. Do that. I'm gonna hide the lateral, and I'm gonna turn that on so I'm not so distracted by the stuff on the backside. And we'll do this one first because I think it's easier. Right, this is coming over. Okay, so this way ish, add a loop, pretty close, tuck that guy inside, about like so, and even that, I'll fix it, it's fine. I was gonna say even that this intersects kind of like that, no one will know or pay attention to, just speaking from experience, but as a matter of correctness, I will make it so that it does not intersect. There we go. Honestly, if I have a feeling this one probably would move inward a bit. Yeah. Okay. That's that one. So here. this back. That's about all we need for that one, and I'll add another loop there just so that we have a little more data. I take this one, scooch it in, just so it tucks in a little more, it's not so harsh. See down here, and this is again is a product of that, this eyelet is a hard metal piece that we made perfectly vertical versus we made this strap from this, which is from the upper, which is a little more organic of a shape, so not a big deal. We just go in, pick this vert, that vert, and fucking pull it out. Maybe a little forward. And maybe pull that one out. So there's a little interference there, but again, we're gonna be looking at it from up here. No one's gonna see that. So I'm actually not gonna worry about that one. I will go into here though and pick, I'm gonna go on the wireframe real quick. Oh, okay, I've got two edges. Sorry if this looks a little crazy. I'm just gonna delete that edge loop, pick this edge. Whoa, that's not what I meant. Texture. Okay, that's really not what I wanted to have happen, but I think I can just grab those points. There they are. I was just trying to grab that whole vertical row of points, that's all. And just move it more like there. Actually, instead of moving, I'm just going to tap G twice and slide it back. Like so. Some of the shapes here are a little weird. Right, and then even this strap thing is super in my way. Yeah, you can see that one is sort of tucking under and into the other one. It's no good. So I'm gonna take this row, delete it for right now. Just that one, pull it out so it's not intersecting with that. And I'll pick these bottom ones and pull them out just a little bit. Something like that. Okay, and again, this is hidden, so this probably really doesn't matter, but it's fine. Okay. Just to sharpen that. Let's see, I'll take this, slide it to there, this one, just to even these guys out a little bit. And where did my strap buckle go? So now this is a little bit off. And this is probably as good a place as any to have also maybe used the thicken modifier versus just modeling it out. Because now I can't make, well, not that I can't make it thicker, but it's a little harder to. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to pick this edge, which goes all the way around the thing, and just delete those vertices. Pick these, hit L, pick everything, delete those vertices. Now I'm back to kind of a flat plane. I'll pick these, nudge them out, these, nudge it out. Okay, it's sort of matching. Okay, and do solidify edge split. It's 9:12. I gotta get going. Okay. So again, I saw that that popped it inward, so I'll hit Control F and flip the normal so it comes outward. And realistically, I have my sense is this is going to be sewn on or over into the tongue somehow, or not the tongue, but the strap rather. So I'm just going to let it kind of intersect a little bit like that. Oh, fuck everything. Hold on. So what happened there is I didn't pick all of those verts because I didn't have this turned off so I could see everything. And all the views rather. So there we go. Pull that in. Maybe we'll see 3 millimeters at 1/3. Yeah, it's probably about 3 millimeters thick if I had to guess. And actually on this one, maybe we don't, or I'll just hide the edge. Whoa. Did I flat? Smooth? Yeah, in this case, hard to say if we want that edge split or not, but I'll maybe turn that back on. Okay, so now that's pretty much working. So yeah, like I said, you can sort of see this here, but there's other ways to cheat a hole. Like you could make If you went into here, made a polygon that's the shape of the inside, just made it black, people will definitely not know that it's not an actual hole. Or the other smart thing to do would be to just go in and sort of pull this shape backwards. Along with, where is it? This one. Just take that and like pull it backwards a little bit. Now no one's ever going to see that that's not a real hole. But again, like I said, we'll see how it looks and kind of go from there. So that's how you get the strap to sort of fit through everything. Hard to, again, I don't know whether this eyelet is something that actually is coming into the inside, or if it's just more of an aesthetic thing on the outside. Who knows what the comfort of this up against the foot is, et cetera, et cetera. But again, we're not really looking inside the shoe, so it's a visualization model. So, yeah, and the next one I'll probably throw in this back thing and a couple other details before we continue on. So it's getting there. Save. Let me do this as is 14.